brothers and sisters have relationships that sometimes us kids don't understand, but
That's the scariest part, is just knowing. It was weird for me because
some people are the way they are because of things I don't know is something that we can never change.
like a representation of what it's like to suppress some shit, my own family possibly won't even, I don't know, have my back.
They were aunts and uncles that were like, they were seasonal, really. I mean, so my Uncle Jerome, he lived in Kentucky at the time. His daughter lived in Florida, so he would come and visit. So when I saw him, it was cool. Like, it was great when I saw him, though. That was my great-grandma's oldest son, so like, she was always happy seeing him. You know, he raised my mom and my aunties. Always, you know, same quiet, chill Uncle Blue. So that's how it was for him. My Uncle James would come, kind of the same thing. I remember Uncle James would come quiet. And I look back, like, because when you saw them, it was special because I saw how happy my great-grandma got, how happy Nana got. So, like, we got happy. You know, Nana made, like, different food. She was cooking, like, better. Like, some shit we couldn't even eat. She just made specifically for him. And my grandma Jackie was happy. Like, people were happy when, like, you know, Uncle Jerome or Uncle James came to town. And when Aunt Carolyn came to town, too. And Carolyn would come to town and, like, bring us all gifts. Like, it was dope when she came to town because, like, I remember she would give me, like, those big old jawbreakers that you can, like, lick and turn colors, and then our big bubble gum, and all the girls, like, Barbie dolls and shit. She would always bring somebody with her, too. She'd bring, like, my cousin Nick or Dominic, or she'd bring my cousin Ivory. She'd bring my cousin Dion. But it was always love when she came. Like, she was always friendly, and, like, my grandma was happy to see her. It was always good when we saw her, too. So my relationship was cool with them. My Aunt Pam, I never even knew of her. I don't remember even talking about her until I moved to Washington. I never saw my Aunt Pam. She was already here in Washington. So, I never saw her yet at the time. And then, of course, who I was named after, my great-grandpa John. My Uncle John had passed in 1965, so I just heard stories and brief stories and saw pictures and whatnot of him. And my great-grandfather, same thing, I knew he was the honcho of the family, and I saw his picture every day. And my great-grandma's house right by the door was his military picture. So every day when you walked in or walked out, you knew, like, who the head guy of this family was. Like, I don't know. You know, people got, like, a picture of, like, Jesus on a cross. In our family, like, we kind of just had our great-grandfather and other things, but that picture stood out to me, like, a lot in my life. Like, that was my relationship with my aunts and uncles. It was always cool because those were Nana's kids. And when Nana was around, everybody was on their best behavior. So when I saw them, it was love because they was happy to see their mom. So it was love.
I had uncles and aunts that were distant. My mom didn't really deal with them because they betrayed her.
Well, growing up with my Aunt Tahira, she was always loud and aggressive, but cool with us. Like,
I don't know if she was watching us one day or something, but sure enough, we were in front of this big ass TV in the house, listening to a music video, watching a music video, and I remember my auntie here teaching me how to shake my ass. I think she was just being comical.
She's like very like cool to like me and like my sisters, but with her kids, I remember she was loud, could kind of be mean, or even mean to my mom, really mean to my grandma.
I remember the sister took her identity, stole all her money one year. Because of what her sister did to her, I always resented her. I always felt like she's a betrayed. But I got to meet her and be around her, and I see that she feels like mom's gonna do whatever she says just because she feels like she has that edge over her, which she do.
Now that I'm older though, she's cool with me directly, but indirectly because of things, you know, my relationship is so.
Mom feels like anything she asked for or wanted, that she wanted to give it to her. And she's like, that's my sister. And I felt like her sister didn't feel the same way.
Some people are the way they are because of things I don't know is something that we can never change. And, you know, that's one of those people. But she was one of those people that helped raise us. So
My uncle PJ, he's like close in age with my brother, and I remember being around him more often, seeing him a lot.
because we were real close. Like we did everything together. Like and the family kind of forced that. Like we were always together. They put us in the same school. Like we did everything together.
PJ was a little off to me. The decisions he made, I felt like he wasn't the age he was supposed to be.
He kind of came to Washington at times and tried to live a life out here. He fucking stepped on my toes. And I'm a person, especially when it comes to family, we can't hate on each other. We should be proud of each other's achievements. But if you ain't meant for something, if something ain't you, you can't force it either. And, you know, he's that kind of person. So I'd rather just don't speak with him because, you know, I don't want to hurt family. And I love my grandma and that's her baby. So I just keep my distance from him.
PJ came down from Florida, knew there was a 20-year-old trying to talk to me, and told me not to say nothing to my mom about it. I wasn't even trying to be in a relationship. But at first, he thought it was cool that this man liked me and wanted me around. It was weird for me because he was the one that betrayed me and went and told on me, but he knew all along. So I felt like, why didn't you been say something? If you really cared, why didn't you stop it from happening when I was hanging out with this man? The reason why I was hanging out with this man was because I was alone and he showed me attention. I didn't want a relationship with him. But because I showed him attention back, as in showed him, okay, you could be my friend, he tried to take advantage. Kari, don't really know Kari. All I know is that he had cancer a couple times and he beat it and still faces consequences with cancer.
My Uncle Kari, growing up, he was like adult big uncle. Like when I was a kid, when I lived with my grandma, he would make me and my other uncle PJ, who was 6 months older than me, he would make us fight. And we were all big on WWE. Like that was our thing. Like we all loved WWE, so we would push that on each other and whatnot. So Kari though was kind of like he was his big brother, but you could even say he acted as mine too though. Like it's how our relationship was. But as I got older though, you know, when I moved away from Florida, I would hear things about him, he would hear things about me, and then that was that. I mean, sometimes I hear him on the phone, and I always remember he'd be so aggressive on the phone. So aggressive, like to my mom or someone. Like, you know, brothers and sisters have relationships, so sometimes us kids don't understand, but still as a grown-ass man, I always say respect is respect. I don't care who you are to someone. So that's the only thing I can't look past is you can't disrespect somebody just because they're your sister.
I don't have a whole lot. I just have one like vivid one from when I was younger. Connection with him after Florida was definitely like a representation of what it's like to suppress some shit until it came up, like literally my late teens, early 20s, once I like started going into therapy and really taking care of myself and like facing all the shit I experienced. But I would say in Florida, I definitely remember being at my grandmother's house. She had a couch like against the wall as soon as you enter to the left. I remember him just being on top of me and like another person to violate me, my mom's own brother. I think he's like 10, 11 years older than me. But I remember him literally being in motion and me, you know, comprehending that this is uncomfortable, this isn't right, but I'm just mute at this point because I'm a child, you know what I'm saying? What are you going to say? And I remember just hearing the words, and I could still hear it so vividly, and it like makes my skin crawl, and him like asking me if I like that, if I like this, of, you know, what he's doing, and then made the comment of, this is what your mom does with her boyfriend, huh? Like, I remember that memory so vividly. Like once it like came up, like up out of my psyche, it was just something that I couldn't like unhear, and then shit fucked with me. And it's crazy because my sister, she mentioned this to me like a couple weeks ago, because she'll call me, we'll talk, and she'll talk about random stuff. And she was, your Uncle Kari is weird.
He texts me every year and he says, I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry for whatever I did to you, and I just don't quite understand. What did you do to me that I don't know about? Because I still don't know till this day, because he said, leave it in God's hand.
And in my mind, it immediately clicks. But this man is literally apologizing to the wrong sister and has been apologizing to the wrong sister for years, which is insane to me. When my late uncle passed recently, I was telling my grandmother about doing this docuseries, and she had asked me, she was like, "Is anything bad happen to you?" And so I finally told her, and I mean, she was speechless. She was disgusted. And she was like, she's very apologetic. Was trying to backtrack, like, where was I? Like, how did this happen? But like, I mean, she couldn't believe what I was telling her about her son. It was tough. It was really tough. Because I asked her, I was like, what would your relationship with him look like going forward? Because she's supporting him through his whole, kids situation, divorce, all that, like, always was there for him. And so, I mean, in her words, she was speechless, but she had said she was going to confront it, for sure. Especially since he's always around other nieces and cousins and whatnot. And I hate that this nigga is literally put on a fucking pedestal. My two other cousins, first cousins down in Florida, they both let their kids go over there with him. And like, I hate it. I hate the thought of it because they have a lot of girls. But it really drives me bonkers to know that my own family possibly won't even, I don't know, have my back. And I have a lot of ideas of what that should look like, but I mean, people have their own relationships with him, like my grandma. Do I really expect her to, just, maybe not in this culture, but just shun and disown her son, her sick son that's went through all this? No, I don't. I would love for it to happen, but I don't expect that. That's the scariest part, is just knowing that if the whole family knows, those connections will still maintain or remain.
I'm like a puzzle, and like I have like a lot of pieces of like things I went through and things I've seen. I didn't see a lot of healthy relationships as a kid. I saw healthy individuals, but not healthy relationships. Like, and I guess that kind of sucked because I've always, as an adult, I guess I'm kind of like finding my own way because of that. Like, I'm not really modeling anybody. I'm modeling like different things I've seen, and I guess that can kind of get confused in a lot when you don't have one direction, because I have like my dad there to see him and kind of really that's not a good example in general. I kind of had like a stepdad, Marcus, for a time, but that wasn't a good example. That was more of like a friend. It was unfortunate. I didn't see good relationships. I saw a lot of trauma because I felt like I was on my own a lot as a kid. Like, I was just dealing with me, and like the people, my guardians or whoever was taking care of me, it was just like a time to time, like, get through this day. It wasn't really, I like taught myself and like learned things just from like being curious and being bored. Like, so you just teach yourself and you learn, and you eavesdrop on adults and you pick up on words and things that go together. I was big on that, just listening to things. I was a sponge and my memory was great. So later on in life, that's like what just has always been my impact, is how I remember stuff. And yeah, I try to bring that all into one, a puzzle.